Hey, welcome to the Researcel, a regenerative enterprise consultant, community organizer, and entrepreneur. And I'm here with two of my friends and coworkers at Natural Grocers, Lindsay and Cecily. And we are here to talk about this new gardening cooperative that we're wanting to start here in Norman. And we've been talking about it a little so far, but we haven't really put anything in stone yet. So, I've been doing these videos with clients working on their business ideas. So this is a little bit different because I'm actually involved in it. So I'm going to be a little bit more, like putting in my opinions and saying this is how I want it to be. But I'm still going to kind of facilitate the conversation. So we'll see how this works. So what you see underneath us for the audience, on one side is a document that I already sent to them and other people on our team, where I was just kind of writing out, what I was thinking so far about how to organize this thing. So we'll be going through that. And then on the left, you see this Regenerative Enterprise Design Canvas, which is a business model canvas that I made that basically just outlines the business plan. And so I would like to fill that out for this business. So we'll start just doing the basics, hopefully just get as far as we can today. Doing that. So, as we continue this process, I want to keep on filling that in, doing that. Hold on, sorry. I'm trying to get the chat room pulled up because if there is anybody watching, I want you to feel free to type in the chat room, and I have it open here on the screen so I can see it. Let me just make sure I can see the whole thing. Maybe I need to move this a little bit. Okay, I can see the chat room now. So, if anybody out there is watching this live, I don't know, I told the friends of mine here in town, and a couple of people said they might come. So if you are there, please say hi to us. And as we're talking, feel free to jump in and give us input. And oh, it looks like Bridgette's here. We have another person joining us on the call. Here she is, Bridgette. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm trying to join on my computer. See the password, and it didn't prompt me for the password on my phone, but it prompted me my computer. Would you be able to give it to me real quick?
Yeah, let me just send it to you here on GroupMe. I'll just send you the entire invite that has the password and whatnot. Okay. So we've just been on for a minute, Bridgette. I was just doing my intro, finishing on my intro, and we were about to do a check-in. So how about I check in with them and we'll just come to you last. Okay, so let's start over here on the left with Lindsay. Lindsay, how are you doing today? Say hi to everybody. If you want to introduce yourself, say something about why you're here. Go ahead.
I'm Lindsay. I'm here because I'm super interested in changing the environment for the better, and I think this is a great way to do it.
Awesome, thank you. Cecily.
Hey there. I am just really eager to learn. I've always been interested in gardening, especially with herbs and herbalism. I'm just eager to be involved in any way.
Awesome. Bridgette, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, and are you saying why we're...
Yeah, why you're here.
Why we're here.
Yeah.
I'm Bridgette. Hello. I don't know. I've been doing food justice, food sovereignty work for about 10 and a half years now, and I have not been able to do much in the way of growing my own food myself, because I've always been in rental properties or apartments throughout that time. And I would really love to see a way for folks in similar situations to be able to plug into growing and learn to grow where we are. If we could actually get some food circulating to people's houses, that would be even more beautiful. And I'm just trying to learn all things about co-op things and growing food things, and if we can build our own systems that we can sustain.
Awesome. Thank you. And I am here because, let's see, I've been wanting to do something like this, and I have done different versions of this. Like we had a little community garden network here in Norman back in the early 2000s, and we were going around to different people's houses each week and working in their gardens. So I guess this is just kind of like picking up where we left off. And we also were gardening at the Earth at that time, which is the community garden we're all working at now. So yeah, I've always wanted to do that more and organize it even more, to have more education involved, and to have people some people at least able to make a living, or at least able to get a real substantial amount of food out of it. So yeah, that's what I'd like to see happen. And I have a master's degree in regenerative enterprise design, so I'm using it. Okay. Cool. So yeah, where we're at right now, to catch anybody up who's new, is that we've been having a community garden at the Earth Natural Foods, and we've been meeting there Saturday mornings and working for an hour or a little bit more. And, we've got some stuff going. There was actually some lettuce coming up when I went by earlier today, and we've got kale that's doing really well, and onions, and we planted Three Sisters, and I think I see some corn coming up now. So yeah, we've been having a really good time. We've been using Korean natural farming, which is a way to make your own gardening inputs using fermentation. We are about to start composting some of the food scraps from the earth, so that we can use them on the garden. And we have another garden here in town we've started, at least me and Bridgette have worked on some. And yeah, just expanding this idea. And so we've talked about this a little bit, about expanding to start gardening in people's yards. Because a lot of people have yards and they would love to have gardens, but maybe they need help or they don't know what to do. I was talking to Marcus, who came to our last garden day, and he builds soil for mostly cannabis grows. He creates this really rich organic soil and gives it to them to grow their plants in. He would like to do that for food production as well. But he said that there was this huge boom in gardening last year because of COVID, but most of those people had no idea what they were doing, and they actually just wasted a lot of resources. He thinks they wasted a lot of soil because they just let it dry out, or they poured chemicals on it. They purchased organic soil and then poured chemicals on it, or people just had no idea what they were doing. And so, people want to do this, but doing a bit of legwork, getting some education before you start will just, ensure that you're not wasting what you have, and will help you to learn how to maximize what you have and how to use your food scraps and stuff, so you don't have to buy all this, expensive inputs and things. So let's see. We need to kind of solidify what this is and what it looks like from a value proposition standpoint, is what are we offering our customers? And we also need to figure out kind of the structure as far as what does membership look like? I think kind of this technicalities of the legal structure and whatnot follow from just what do you want your membership to look like? Who's involved in this and how are they involved? And where is your money coming from? And how do you want people to be compensated for investing in this, whether it's money or time or anything like that? So that's kind of where we need to figure out with this conversation. And, maybe let's just go around and kind of, just speak to what you see as a possibility, just brainstorming. In fact, I can take some notes as a brainstorm here. Let me just open up a blank document. So yeah, I just want to get your all input on what you think this could look like, what you want it to look like, what you want to get out of it, or imagining someone how you think they would be involved in it. So would any of you like to start?
I'm trying to find the little question thing you sent us earlier so I can pick out what I was thinking of a bit ago. So.
Or just starting, I know that was kind of a big, long, complicated question. Starting with how you personally want to be involved. Like, let's start there.
I'd like to be able to go along with the group and help with, making workable gardens for people at their homes. I think that would be a very fun and interesting thing to start. It'll be a fun learning experience and help me be able to do my own thing at my own house. So that's kind of like what I think would be a really cool thing to get started. And maybe even make a profit out of it in some way, make a cool little business out of it or something.
Okay. What about Cecily or Bridgette?
I personally, I really liked the idea of working with the customer versus kind of working for, because the community aspect is what really drives me. It's what brought me to the garden, the Earth Garden. And so I think that if we're working with it, it feels a little less like work, even though obviously, you're having to put in time and effort. And it also would allow for ownership from the customer, so they wouldn't just be like, oh, someone's going to come do this for me. They would be like, okay, I need to also do my part to upkeep this outside of the however many hours a month we would be going out there.
Awesome, thanks. Bridgette, what about you?
I feel like I love the connection aspect, and I feel like I've connected to a lot of people, especially in the last year, who are wanting to grow their own food, but have had some barriers in some degree, and so I think that we would be able to get past more barriers together, and then it would hopefully be a way of growing food that becomes more accessible to more people, and that we could possibly be producing more of our own food within city limits, which would be really amazing. And I would really love to try to learn more about the business side and be able to make somewhat of a living off of doing this work. Oh no, that's not going to happen. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, guys, I just lost my sound.
No money for you.
Welcome to All Planting.
Okay, it's back on. Bridgette, can you repeat that last thing you just said?
I was saying that I would like to learn more about the business side, and I would like to figure out a way that we can sustain this work in some financial form, because I think that I know I've been doing this work on a volunteer basis for a long time, and I know a lot of other people have too, and that's beautiful, but it's not necessarily sustainable. And I think that for us to have comparable food producing systems to the ones that we currently rely on that have a lot of issues, we do need to be able to sustain ourselves a little bit more with the labor that we're putting in.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and for me, I mean, I want to educate people mainly. I want to teach people regenerative agriculture, teach people that they don't have to spend a lot of money on stuff to garden with. It's more the physical equipment, really. I mean, it does take money. You need hoses, but you don't need to buy compost every year, stuff like that. And that you can make the food healthier by making the soil healthier, and that it is all about the soil, because that's just the fundamental misconception about gardening and farming that most people have, including most farmers and gardeners, is they think it's about the plants. It's not about the plants. It's about the soil. If you're taking care of the soil, the plants will take care of themselves. So teaching that, getting people to grok that, helping them actually do it and like see the difference and feel the difference themselves when you stick your hands in some really organically rich soil and feel, how it is versus like this like clay that you've been pouring chemicals on. It's like a completely different thing. So, yeah, I want to teach people regenerative agriculture, and then I want to make a living. And I don't know if this particular business is going to pay all of my bills, but I would like to be generating some income from teaching. We can think of it like, if I'm teaching a class once a week, I should get paid to teach that class, kind of starting there. And to make sure that other people who do want to do gardening can get compensated for it fairly, which I think it's a challenge, but it's like an interesting challenge. It's like an exciting challenge for me to figure out how to actually crowdsource the resources that people can just grow their own food and just do that, just grow food in the city and actually be able to pay your bills at the same time. Like, how is that possible? Or part-time, like I see a future because they say that, we're losing all of our jobs to machines, like AI is going to take over all the tech jobs. And, of course they said that when like machines started making cars and stuff. But, if that is true, what are people going to do? And if it's possible to, work 20 hours a week and spend the rest of your time growing food and actually have that work, I want to figure out how to make that work, if that makes sense.
I think that's a great goal.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then the next question will be, how do we envision other people becoming involved in this? Maybe people who aren't already into it, like what might they see or want? That's kind of where I have a little bit more difficulty, is imagining people who aren't already into this stuff.
Mm-hmm. I have a few people who I think would definitely be interested. I think first, like looking at folks who've been involved in things in the past, like the Oklahoma Food Co-op only went out of business a few years ago, and there's still folks who like are feeling the effects of that, who did rely on it more at one time. And there are also people who are like growing quite a bit of food in their own yards, but feel kind of isolated. And are like have been excited to see like new Facebook groups and like things popping up about like people growing. But I think that like it might take some time for us to be able to like offer what we ultimately like want to offer to people, because I feel like what we ultimately want to offer is like you get a box of produce every week, you get support on your garden like this many times whatever, you get like a share in resources like a hose or like irrigation equipment or like different stuff that we might use. But
we can buy things in bulk.
There was like someone who approached me asking if I knew about any bulk buyers clubs in the area, because they had moved here from Portland, and that was something that they had in their community there that they didn't see here. And then I think people who are just like wanting to learn how to grow will be part of our market, but I think that we have to figure out how to like make it accessible to them. Like if we want to have, what would like a non-land owning member get out of this project as opposed to like a landowning member. Like if they didn't have, like if you were just like, you know, an apartment renter, and you are like wanting to like learn how to grow, maybe the like full membership fee feels a little steep. So like what would be a way that that person could like enter? Could they like, I don't know, could there be like an apprentice membership or something like that, where it's like a different fee because you're paying for different things. You're paying for the classes, you're paying for like community connections, but you wouldn't be getting that like garden at your own home aspect just yet, but could like possibly be getting some like produce later, because like I feel like a lot of what people are paying, like once we're more established, what people would be paying for is like, oh, okay, yeah, this is how much I budget for produce each week anyway, so like cool, I'll pay for that, no problem.
Yeah. So like, let's take Marcus, for example. So Marcus, I mean, he's obviously growing organically already. He says he's got a big garden in his backyard that he's expanding this year. And he says it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Well, let's go show up at his house. Like, let's get him in. If a bunch of people who have apartments can show up, you know, at his house and help with his garden, he said he's got more food than he can eat. So we'll send people home with stuff. I mean, I think once we get in the garden and people see it and they go, oh yeah, let's grow some food for ourselves here. You know, we just need some space to start in, I think. And we have the earth, but, you know, it's like, that's a public place. So it's like, what if somebody just walks through and like takes all our onions? You know, I feel like in a yard would feel a little bit more like ours collectively, if those people are actually members. Does that make sense? Yeah, Lindsay or Cecily, do you have anything to add here?
I think it would be maybe a good way to find other people that might want to do it is through like the university, OU. I remember when I was going to school there was like the lettuce club, and they have this like whole building where they do like the vertical like lettuce growing with all the like water and everything, which I thought was very cool. So I think there's a lot of people, like students, that would be willing to do something like that. They just don't know where to start, and that would be a really good place to maybe find some people that would be interested in taking that path after or during school, or once they're done with their degree in environmental whatever.
Yeah, great idea. Cecily, do you have ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like that idea that Lindsay was saying about like outreach, and obviously same with what the things that Bridgette was saying, in terms of trying to gauge maybe what people might benefit from. I think in addition to like reaching out to these kind of already existing groups, we could like create a survey of like, what, if anything, do you know about gardening, and like what would you like to learn and gain from this? And then we could kind of, I think it'd make it easier to kind of like tailor those like memberships, like Bridgette was saying, like maybe an apprenticeship. Yeah, that we could kind of like pinpoint how we would do these like packages.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. I'm just thinking, what I kind of don't want to have happen is something that I've had happen before when I've tried to do stuff like this, is like I try to gather a lot of input from people, and there's just like this really extended period of information gathering, but the energy peters off because we're so unclear about what we're doing that people don't know how to join. And so if you just keep talking about it without doing anything, people become uninterested and they walk away. You know what I mean? So I want to have something to do right away. I want to have something like maybe simple packages ready, and then maybe we can add or change as we go. But I'd like to have something that's just like, okay, join and do this right away.
So I do think that having and I mean, we can like talk through some different ideas, but I do think having like an apprenticeship package or something like that could serve us really well, because I think that that is where we could get a lot of people who are like wanting to get their hands in the dirt, but like have no point of entry. And so they might not like go for a big I don't know, membership fee or something, but if we could do something that's like closer to like $20 starting out.
Well, here's what I was thinking, especially for an apprenticeship package. So the membership fee for someone who doesn't have a house would be $75, but you could work trade up to 60 of that off. So you'd only be paying 15.
But what would you be paying for?
For the supplies that it takes to do the gardening that you're going to get food from. And the classes and the education that you're getting.
So I think if we could break it down to be like, maybe we could like start with like 6-month memberships or something. And like you were thinking the 75 for a monthly.
Yeah, for non-homeowners, like 100 or maybe 125 for homeowners. Maybe 100 base, but I mean, they might have to put in more money for the like physical equipment to set up their garden, you know?
So I do think that like 75 to 100 would be reasonable if we were distributing produce each week. But I think it's going to be some time till we can do that. So I think that like part of what it will take to like convince people to join is like breaking down exactly what they're paying for. So how many classes does that cover? If they miss a class, like what would that mean? Maybe we could do like a 6-month rate or something. And then like I don't know, because like right now we have the Earth Garden and the Love Works Garden, and then I would say maybe like 5. I mean, with like Marcus, and then I know 4 people who I think would definitely be interested who are already growing their own yards. But I don't know, if I didn't know y'all and I saw like an apprenticeship program that was like charging me $75, I mean that $75 for me right now would be very, very steep for anything. Like I've been like wanting to sign up for like fertile grounds composting service, and that is like $25 a month, I think. That's like something I keep being like, well, can I afford it or not with my other expenses? But like if we're calculating in a certain amount of food, that would be different. But I feel like maybe doing like an introductory rate that is lower to like get people in, and then as we're adding services, increase the prices.
But I'm saying 15. I'm saying it's $15 a month. I mean, if you're not gardening, then what's the point?
I thought you were saying 75 a month.
Yeah, and then you work trade 60 of it off, but you have to like show up and help. And then you get food.
How much food?
I mean, that's how gardening works. You do the gardening and then you get the food. That's how gardening works. You don't immediately get food. You have to garden first. So people show up and they garden and then they get food. And it's like, yes, you're putting in $15. That's way less than you'd end up spending if you had your own garden. If you had your own garden, you'd end up spending $300 right up front buying hoses and shit. I'm giving people a great deal. Okay. And you're getting education.
Does this include kind of what you had mentioned before of like becoming a master gardener? Because I feel like if that were a part of it, that would definitely be enticing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how to exactly organize the classes is a good question, because what I've been teaching in my classes at the Earth is all online. You know, if somebody can't make it on Saturday mornings, I can just give them a link to the videos and then give them a test to prove that they know the information. Like, they don't necessarily have to show up at these times to take these classes. Is just a, you know, more fun way to do it, I guess, to do it with other people and to do it more hands-on. But in order for people to, you know, what I would say, take over a garden or take over a garden day, you know, I would want them to know this information if they're going to be leading the organizing of a garden.
So I think this is all helpful. I'm just saying, like, we should explain what they're paying for in as much detail as possible, and I think comparing it to like how much, like including like, this is, you know, what it would cost for you to like start your own garden at home or whatever, these materials, that comparison could help. And like, maybe, I'm inclined to suggest, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna throw out this idea. We'll see how it is. But if like for like the apprenticeship package or whatever, it can be like, maybe like list to 15 plus a certain number of hours worked is like the expectation.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Being as transparent as possible is the best way to do it, for sure. Otherwise, people feel like they're being like cheated in some way, and they won't want to come back.
Well, but also that like we can promote it to be like, this is how much would be coming out of your pocket if you're putting in this many hours in the garden. I don't know.
Do we know like how much food we're going to be like producing?
We don't. I mean, that's very dependent upon many factors. The amount of space that we have, the quality of the soil when we start, the quality of the work that goes into it, you know, whether we get it right the first time or have to try a few times, you know, before we get something to come up. I mean, I would like to definitely plant enough things that we're pretty sure are going to be successful, that will have a good amount of food, you know. Like, I don't want to just plant things that may or may not, like broccoli. Like, I've never had a broccoli produce like a reasonable sized head, you know. Like, that's a hard one to get to really, you know, if you don't have experience doing that, which I don't have a lot of experience with broccoli, you know. But like summer squash, I can get a lot of zucchini. So yeah, like, we could just plant a lot of the things that we know will grow well. And then some of the stuff we're experimenting with. And I think we could get enough to produce 100% of our own produce. I mean, maybe even more. Like, Marcus said the tomato plants in his backyard were 20 feet tall.
That's what I'm interested in, tomatoes.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, they said they were canning as much as they possibly could, and they could barely keep up with it. So, like,
yeah, salsa season's coming up. Almost salsa.
No, salsa season is always, but yes.
Well, that's true. I take it back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also want to sell it as an opportunity to make money, because, like, yeah, just with the work trade aspect, you know, we're just kind of breaking even. But if we had extra produce to sell, if we had inputs like the Korean natural farming inputs, biochar, you know, other kind of things we might make that we could sell from the co-op to people who aren't in the co-op, or sell to co-op members for extra, then that would generate an income for people who wanted to work more. You know, but yeah, I know explaining all of that sounds kind of complicated, and yeah, I could see selling it more as like $15 a month if you do this many hours, and just putting that $15 ahead instead of putting the $75 ahead. Like, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I just don't want people to join thinking, oh, this is $15 and I'll get free food, and like, you know, not like put in the hours.
I mean, I think we should definitely, like, I don't know, we could put like, you know, $15 a month plus this many hours, whatever, per share. Because, like, so I'm thinking that, like, if I were coming in as someone who's, like, wanting to learn, like, my main interest would be getting hours in the garden. And so I think that, like, setting it up to, you know, rely more on having, like, that person spend more hours in the garden, I think would make sense.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like, you know, just seeing that 75 off the bat, I do think might scare some people. Like,
Yeah,
if,
I see that. I see that. I believe it's 8 hours a month is what I'm looking at. Yeah. Yeah. And as I mentioned to Bridgette before, you know, this math could get a little complicated if they raise the minimum wage. But I mean, work trade work is just not worth much. Sorry, guys. It's for the person who's organizing it, it's often more work to organize work traders than to just do the work yourself. But I want to teach people, you know, and once they are up to a certain level, then yeah, they'll be able to do things on their own and kind of take care of the gardens. But I'm probably going to have to do a lot of overseeing and handholding at the beginning. But hopefully we have members like Marcus who, I mean, in Marcus's case, he's already growing in his yard. So he would just automatically get that work trade because he's taking care of his own garden at least that much. You know what I mean? And then he would be paying for us to come out and help him however often we can, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe instead of like a survey or something, since like you're saying that might like leave too much room for like.
I think we should do that.
Chaos.
I'm just saying we should have something for people to join and then ask them what more they want, or ask them.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
So maybe we could try to like solidify some more of these things, like the making sure like this amount of hours, like if it's 8 hours gets you 60 or whatever, kind of having like a Q&A, that way they can like read that over, and then also add it like a very brief survey, just to kind of like gauge their like desires from this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think we should. I'm just thinking back to Marcus and anyone else who might want to join who does have a lot of knowledge and experience to offer, because I don't want to charge him more than other people because he has a yard. Like he's contributing that yard. It would make sense if he had nothing. If he had just a bare yard and we were coming in and digging it up and making a garden for him, then it would make sense for him to pay more.
Maybe we could make that like part of the survey, like what do you have already, if anything?
Yeah.
Echo.
Did it stop? Okay, I think it stopped. Sorry.
I think that's a good idea, Cecily, making it part of the survey, and maybe. So this could also be like a separate package too, right? Like maybe working with like 3 so far, basically like beginners, experts, and then everybody in the middle. Like another person, I think Tomoko, she came to the one in-person training that we did like pre-pandemic, and she shops at Natural Grocers, and I grew up going to her house and her garden, and she has like, I mean, she grows a lot of shit. And she also is a master gardener. And she was a committed member of the co-op for a long time. And I think that, yeah, like she's someone else who I think would definitely fall into that category. And then maybe we can think about like what we're providing those 3 different groups. And maybe, you know, like what's in the middle will become 2, and we'll have 4 different groups, but like brand new people, experts, with growing space, and then people who kind of fall in between.
Yeah, definitely that should be 3 different packages. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. I think another thing that would be really easy to do is growing herbs and drying them and giving them to people as well, because herbs are like the easiest thing to grow ever. And also maybe doing some things that, like, if you do live in an apartment, here's how you grow these herbs inside your home, and doing things like that to make it a little bit more feasible that way, because I know I'm always like interested in doing things that are inside of my house, because sometimes doing things outside can be a little overwhelming to people who want to do some stuff themselves. So I think that would be a fun idea as well. And then we could also like have little bundles of herbs to sell people as well, dried herbs and things like that, or fresh.
Yeah, me and Cecily were just talking about making an herb garden under that tree at the Earth, in the space that doesn't have anything right now. And then indoor gardening. You can do a lot indoors too. There's also the idea that we could do other things, other workshops, like make your own soap kind of things, you know? And maybe those could just be separate events where it's just like, come bring $10 for supplies and we'll make a batch of soap and everybody gets to take some, you know, when it's done, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Or like making jam, jellies, salsas.
Yeah.
Like,
Tea blends. Yeah,
exactly. So like potted herbs to take, like potted herbs to take home with you would be one.
Yeah. I like the idea of having like special days where we do something a little different.
Awesome.
I also heard, I haven't seen the space yet, and we need to reach out to them, but I heard that Earth Rebirth has a location again. They hadn't had a physical location for a few years, but that might be, we should definitely reach out to them, because they have like a series of gardens started on like the Garden Network in Norman already, and at another time, we were working on something similar. I worked there briefly, but yeah.
Okay.
And I'm curious about this new space, if it could be a place that we could like possibly use for like a canning expo or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I had heard of them, and then I tried looking it up, and I couldn't find much information, and I heard that like they were not doing much at the time or something. So yeah, I need to look that up again and see what they're actually up to. Because I mean, yeah, they could be doing something really similar to this. Maybe I should just go join them and do it with them or something.
So I mean, a lot of what they've done historically has been school gardens.
Okay.
And so they have like some gardens at some elementary schools, a couple middle schools in Norman, and then like, but I don't know, Andrew just, I don't know, started a bunch of Facebook groups. So there was a Garden Network Facebook group at some point that will like still post updates in it, but I don't know how much people are, but like that might be a good place for us to try to like find members and connect. I feel like we'll be filling a different niche, but we'll be attracting a lot of the same people. So
I mean, that's a good point. Thinking about what they're doing and juxtaposing what we're trying to do, it seems like maybe we could just sell people on this very simple idea that you show up, you pitch in a little bit, you help out, and then you get a share of what's produced. So using that example of like, we're going to get together and make a bunch of soap and then split up how much soap, like that's almost easier, I think, for people to grok than the idea of doing the exact same thing with a garden. You know, but that's really what we're talking about. We're just using whatever space we can find and whatever space that our members have access to. That might be their own yards. It might be, you know, spaces like the Earth, or it could be apartment complexes that have an area they'd let us use, you know? Okay. You know, we're just over 7, but we started like 15 minutes late. Does anybody need to go, or can we keep going a little bit?
We can probably go until 7:15. I do have to get back to school stuff.
Okay. Yeah, if we could maybe address the name for a minute. I kind of want to know what to call this thing. The name.
Those West Coasters got all the good ones.
I know.
I was like, I'm brilliant. And I was like,
I feel like you came up with one. Which one did you come up with, Bridgette? Because you were like, we were saying something about like. Oh, I can't remember.
So we were talking about like the Norman gardening co-op versus like the Norman like soil co-op. Because Jackie, you were saying you were kind of dreading having the conversation with people. That like if we said like grow co-op, then we might get a bunch of cannabis people, and gardening, that people would like show up expecting a bunch of produce right away. Whereas like soil might be like, together we're building up the soil first, and then we'll move on to the gardening. But so I don't know. Personally, I think like Norman Garden Co-op.
Yeah,
would work.
That would work.
Like,
I mean, I'm also liking kind of the direction you were going towards with like Cooperate Norman, or like something about
Norman.
about like people coming together and cooperating. Something like that could also work.
So Cooperation Norman. That's sorry, Lindsay. That's how I remember. So that is based off of Cooperation Jackson out of Jackson, Mississippi, and now that is like what Cooperation Tulsa is taking their name from. And it involves like a lot of different aspects, including growing food, including compost, including distribution, including like even like city government, possibly eventually, like a bunch of stuff. So I was thinking of it for like a mutual aid network, but also, you know, if we call it Cooperation Norman, it could give us like room to grow. But also, I feel like maybe it could box us in if we like start Cooperation Norman just as like a garden co-op, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we could just throw in some other workshops and things too. Like I can teach everybody how to make some tooth powder. You know, like we could do some of that from the beginning.
It doesn't sound very enticing to me. Like to me, like, cooperation, that makes me think of like a big cooperative, like a big, like I don't know. It just doesn't sound like warm and cozy. And I don't know if that's what we're trying to do at all, but I always like a good, fresh, fun name. And if that's not cool with y'all, that's fine too.
Well,
so I do. I feel like I do agree. Because I think that Cooperation Norman, when it does come, it's a bigger project. And I feel like it does communicate a bigger project. Like it, and I feel like there's a reason that it evokes that feeling from Lindsay, because it's like we're building all this shit together. Like which I want to do. But you know, that might not be the current audience we're trying to like bring in. So I do think that maybe keeping it simple and being like the Norman Gardening Co-op.
Or we could go back to Regenerate the Earth. Do y'all hate that? Am I the only person who likes that one?
It's from the ground up taken. That's kind of also to the point. Like we're building this whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do like the idea. So I want us to have like a new name. I do like the from the ground up.
It's probably already taken. All the other ones I
There's a
thought of were.
snack
So.
company named that. Lots of songs.
All right, I'm done.
It's hey, you know what? Back in 2000, what was that? 2007 to 2011, I had a mushroom farm called Ohm Gardens Mushroom Farm. Now, Ohm Mushroom something is like the biggest mushroom supplement company, like coming up off the West Coast.
You should have patented that name.
It happens, you know. So yeah, it's a snack, but you can use the same name as something else as long as it's a different thing. So like if it's a snack company, like I don't think that we would get in trouble for using from the ground up. There's a documentary named that. Oh, it's about vegetarian and vegan athletes. I don't know.
Lame.
How dare they be vegan athletes?
Sorry, that's my own personal.
That's the one group we want to accept here.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. You can join. I just think you need some omega-3s. That's all.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. No. Okay. I guess we're just gonna have to go with Norman. Should we do Norman Gardening Co-op or Norman Natural Gardening Co-op?
What about Glow Up Co-op?
Putting that millennial spin on it. I love it.
Grow up.
Grow up. Oh, I could get behind that one.
I love how our cats are just like a part of the whole.
Mine's being so bad right now. That's why I'm like looking all around.
Yeah.
Grow up co-op. No, I want to do it.
They still kind of make us sound a little bit like a homeschool co-op, though. I would say. From the ground up, generate the earth. Common. Collective grow. I'm like, okay.
Collective grow.
Mutual grow. Mutual.
I think first we need to grow psilocybin and go on a vision journey, and then the name will come to us.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get back to nature.
Like have a like very mind-opening journey together, and then we'll find the perfect name.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how it's done.
Okay. Let's do this. I will make a document, or maybe we could just use this document that I just created that I've been taking notes in, that I shared with the folder with you all. And I'll just call it brainstorm notes. And in the brainstorm notes, let's just put words and phrases, like whatever you can think of, just brainstorm words that we could use, and we'll revisit it next time. But for now, we're calling it the Norman Gardening Co-op. But that would work, but it's kind of boring. So yeah, we'll make one more stab at it, and if we still can't come up with a better name, then we'll just go with that. How about that?
Sounds great.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. Let's do a little closing round. If there's anything else you want to say, add, or give some appreciations or what you're looking forward to. I don't know. Say whatever you want. Let's go. Bridgette, you go first.
I am feeling excited about our packages coming together. Been in conversations with people about stuff a lot, and actually getting some stuff down on paper feels good. And I'm just ready to incorporate and try the money things. I haven't done the money things before. I've done all the other things. So yeah.
Awesome.
I will pass to Cecily.
Oh, yeah, I mean, again, I'm just excited to learn and to do it, but to solidify everything and to be able to engage with people and get that interest going. And yeah, I'm just excited that this is like happening. It's something that I feel like the community needs for sure. So that community aspect of it is really driving me.
I'll go next since we're kind of going this way, and I'll leave it with Lindsay. So I don't know if we're in the same order on you guys' screen, but anyway. No, I feel really excited, and I'm really glad that I know you all so well from working with you, and that you guys feel comfortable kind of dealing with my pushiness and pushing back, because that's exactly what I need. I need people to like push back and make me explore things more, because I get a little stuck sometimes. So thank you. And Lindsay.
That's actually great. I like that because I think we get stuck in our same routine a lot, and it'll be really nice and good to get out of the comfort zone and try this new thing. I'm also very excited to learn more about growing. I have a ton of houseplants, but it'll be really fun to grow something that I can actually use and consume and be healthy. And it's also really great for the environment, which is so exciting because I'm obsessed with the environment. And so I think it'll be a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you anybody who's watching this, including after the fact. If you've made it to the end, thanks so much for learning about what we're doing. And I hope that you'll join us or at least support us in some way. Oh, I'm working on figuring out a way to do like fundraising, like selling t-shirts and stuff is what kind of the way I'm thinking of doing it. There's some like fundraising platforms where you can like do print on demand t-shirts and hats and all sorts of stuff, and if we could make like cool like memes and stuff, then we could raise some funds to get this and other projects going. So yeah, like go to my website if you're watching this. Regenerative.rEvolution.org will actually take you to my website, and you can find like these recordings and when we're going to meet next. There's a calendar on there that's updated as soon as we set our next meeting. So yay, thanks, and thank you guys so much for being willing to be on camera. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.